5 relatives to avoid after turning 65. As we move into our golden years, life becomes more about cherishing peace, celebrating small joys, and nurturing meaningful relationships. However, not all relationships contribute positively to our well-being, and some relatives, whether intentionally or unintentionally, may drain your energy, steal your joy, or undermine your independence. Which is not a matter of cutting people off completely, but rather of setting clear boundaries in order to protect your peace of mind. In the following discussion, we examine 5 types of relatives to approach with caution after turning 65 and provide guidance on how to navigate these dynamics with wisdom and grace. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, do not forget to subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you never miss an update. 1. The emotional Stormchaser. Every visit with this relative feels like being caught in a whirlwind of drama. In every family, there is that one person who seems to carry chaos wherever they go. Someone who calls not to inquire about your well-being, but to unload the latest saga from their life. They have an uncanny ability to find crises in even the most mundane situations, to transform minor disagreements into full-scale battles, and to leave you feeling emotionally exhausted after every conversation. It is not that this relative is inherently a bad person. Often, they are simply unaware of the toll their behavior takes on those around them. However, as you grow older, the stakes become higher. Protecting your peace is no longer a luxury but a necessity. Imagine a quiet morning when you are finally sitting down with a cup of tea, enjoying a serene moment while gazing out at your garden or immersed in a favorite book, only to be interrupted by the ringing of your telephone. The call comes from your emotional Stormchaser relative, and before you have even had a chance to greet them, they launch into a dramatic account of their latest catastrophe. Perhaps it is a minor inconvenience at work, a misunderstanding with a friend, or another family drama that somehow becomes your problem as well. By the time the conversation concludes, the tranquility of your moment has evaporated, replaced by the heavy burden of their troubles. At this stage in life, you deserve calm. Your emotional energy is precious, and repeatedly being drawn into someone else's whirlwind can deplete your reserves faster than you may realize. Studies have shown that chronic stress can lead to numerous health issues, including heart disease, impaired immunity, and even cognitive decline. Thus, the matter is not simply about avoiding discomfort, but about safeguarding your overall health and well-being. So how do you handle such a situation without cutting this relative off entirely? It begins with establishing boundaries, which are not meant to be impenetrable walls, but rather bridges that enable healthy relationships to flourish. The first step is to acknowledge that you are not obligated to solve their problems whenever they call. Listen with compassion, yet resist the impulse to plunge headfirst into their storm. Offer simple affirmations such as, "That sounds really tough," and then gently steer the conversation away from providing extensive solutions unless absolutely necessary. If the pattern of disruptive calls continues, it may be time to have an honest conversation with them. You might say, "I value our relationship, but I have realized that getting involved in too much drama is not good for my health. I hope you understand if I take a step back from certain situations." Such conversations, although potentially uncomfortable, can be liberating as they reinforce the message that your peace matters. In addition, it is important to replace the space left by these draining interactions with positive experiences. Spend more time with people who uplift and energize you. Reconnect with old friends who share your values. Or join local groups where you can meet others who bring genuine joy into your life. Rediscover activities that make you feel centered, whether it is gardening, painting, or taking quiet walks in nature. The emotional Stormchaser relative may always seem to carry a dark cloud, but you do not have to stand in the rain. By consciously choosing peace, you protect your well-being and, in your own quiet way, demonstrate to them what a balanced and calm life can look like. Sometimes, the best way to inspire change in others is simply to live the life you know is best for you. 2. The financial freeloader. It is perfectly acceptable to help family members in need. However, this should never come at the expense of your peace of mind or your hard-earned retirement savings. As you grow older, the fruits of a lifetime of work become something to cherish. Retirement is not merely about stepping away from a career, but about entering a phase of life in which you can finally enjoy the freedom you have earned. For many, this means traveling, pursuing hobbies, or simply enjoying quiet days spent in the company of family and friends. But what occurs when someone in your family begins to view your savings as their safety net, a solution to every financial misstep they encounter? The financial freeloader often starts subtly. Initially, they might make a small request, a loan to cover an unexpected bill or a favor for something they claim is only temporary. In that moment, it seems natural to help, for they are family, and the small gesture appears inconsequential compared to the gratitude you expect to receive. However, soon those small requests begin to accumulate, and what was once an occasional plea turns into a routine pattern of emergencies. The gratitude you once anticipated may gradually give way to an air of entitlement. You begin to notice the recurring pattern. They approach you not because they have genuinely exhausted all options, but because you have always been willing to say yes. This situation places you in an uncomfortable position, especially for those of us who were raised with the belief that family comes first. There is often a lingering guilt that whispers, "If you do not help, who will?" Yet the truth is that continuously giving at the expense of your own financial security is neither sustainable nor fair. You have worked diligently for every dollar in your savings, and while generosity is a virtue, it should never compromise the future you have planned for yourself. Your savings are meant to support your dreams, your personal needs, and to provide a buffer against the unexpected twists and turns of life. Living on a fixed income during retirement demands careful planning and an understanding that your financial resources are finite. When a family member repeatedly leans on you for money, the consequences extend beyond your bank balance to affect your emotional well-being as well. Over time, resentment can set in, and what was once a generous act of kindness begins to feel like an onerous obligation that saps the joy out of the relationship. How can you navigate this situation without severing the ties that bind you? The answer lies in clarity and compassion. Setting boundaries does not mean that you care any less. It simply means that you care enough about your own stability to be honest about what you can and cannot do. When a family member approaches you with a request for money, take a moment to reflect before responding. Ask yourself whether this assistance will truly help them in the long run, or if it will merely enable a recurring pattern of dependence. If you feel that agreeing to their request might compromise your own financial security or reinforce an unhealthy habit, it is perfectly acceptable to say no. When you decline, do so with kindness yet firmness. For example, you might say, "I am sorry, but I need to focus on managing my own finances right now." If you feel comfortable, offer an alternative form of support that does not involve direct financial assistance. You could suggest that they seek help from local resources, provide them with budgeting tools, or guide them toward community programs that offer financial assistance. These alternatives convey that you care, without taking on a burden that is not yours to bear. It is also important to shift your perspective regarding what true help means. Sometimes, the greatest gift you can offer someone is the opportunity to solve their own problems. By stepping back, you allow them the chance to build resilience and learn how to navigate challenges independently. This approach does not diminish your love for them. Rather, it is an expression of confidence in their ability to grow and manage their own affairs. Simultaneously, celebrate your own financial freedom. Take pride in having worked hard to create stability for yourself, and treat your savings as a tool to invest in your own happiness. Whether that takes the form of small indulgences, memorable experiences with loved ones, or simply the comfort of knowing you are secure. The financial freeloader may never fully grasp your decision to say no, and that is acceptable. What matters most is that you protect what you have built and continue to live your life with the peace and confidence that you have rightfully earned. Generosity should be a fulfilling act, not one that drains you. After all, you can only give freely to others if you ensure that your own cup is full. 3. The overbearing advisor. In every family, there is often someone who believes that they have mastered the art of living and that their way is always the right way, regardless of whether it suits your own life. The overbearing advisor is that relative who is never short of opinions regarding your diet, your daily habits, your financial choices, or even how you spend your leisure time. Although their intentions may be well-meaning, Their persistent insistence that they know what is best for you can gradually undermine your sense of independence. As you age, these interactions may begin to sting more, not because they are overtly aggressive, but because they subtly imply that the wisdom, experience, and intuition you have cultivated over decades are less valuable than their suggestions. Imagine that you have spent a lifetime navigating the complexities of life, making countless decisions, and learning from each success and setback. You have earned the right to trust your own judgment and to embrace the methods that work best for you. Yet then this relative appears, questioning your choices with casual remarks or relentless advice, asking, "Are you sure that is a good idea?" or suggesting that you might be better off doing things in their way. Gradually, their repeated comments begin to chip away at your confidence, leaving you to wonder whether you should second-guess the decisions that have carried you this far. The harm of the overbearing advisor lies not solely in the words they speak, but in the effect those words have on your inner sense of validation. Their constant interference can create undue stress and, over time, may lead to a pervasive self-doubt that undermines the autonomy you so rightfully deserve. It is incredibly frustrating to feel as though your hard-earned wisdom is being dismissed at a time when you should be celebrating your independence and unique perspective. However, the fundamental truth remains: your life is yours to live, and no one, regardless of how knowledgeable or well-intentioned they may be, has the authority to dictate what is best for you. Your experiences, values, and instincts have carried you through every challenge thus far, and they will continue to serve as your guiding light. Recognize that what works for one person may not necessarily work for you, and that is perfectly acceptable. So, how does one navigate interactions with the overbearing advisor without turning every conversation into a battleground? The key is to reclaim your own voice while maintaining a respectful acknowledgement of their intentions. When unsolicited advice is offered, consider acknowledging their concern and then calmly asserting your own perspective. For example, you might say, "I appreciate your input, but I have carefully thought this through and feel confident in my decision." Such a response conveys that you value their opinion while firmly affirming your own judgment. Another strategy is to gently redirect the conversation. Instead of allowing the discussion to focus on what they think you should do, steer the conversation towards shared experiences or memories, perhaps remarking, "That is an interesting point, and it reminds me of a time when I tried something similar with a different outcome." By shifting the topic, you diffuse any tension and remind both yourself and them that your relationship is not solely defined by debates or advice giving. It is also worthwhile to reflect on why their behavior affects you so deeply. Is it because you feel unheard, or does their insistence trigger fears or insecurities that have lain dormant? Understanding the emotional impact of their words can help you approach these situations with greater clarity and compassion, both for them and for yourself. Simultaneously, make a conscious effort to surround yourself with individuals who respect your autonomy and celebrate your ability to make decisions independently. Engage in activities that reinforce your sense of self, whether it involves picking up a new hobby, traveling to places that inspire you, or simply enjoying moments of quiet reflection that allow you to reconnect with your inner wisdom. Remember, advice is merely that, advice, not a mandate. You have earned the right to choose what feels best for you, guided by the knowledge and intuition you have accumulated over a lifetime. In this stage of life, the beauty lies in the freedom to chart your own course without the need for constant external approval, and, by setting clear boundaries, you affirm that your voice matters most. 4. The emotional manipulator. If you have ever experienced a unique discomfort stemming from being manipulated by someone you love, then you will recognize the distress that arises when an emotional manipulator exerts control. This relative is adept at pulling on your heartstrings, using words that may sound innocent on the surface but are laden with guilt and insinuations such as, "After all, I have done so much for you," or "I thought you cared about family." Their approach is subtle yet powerful, designed to bend your will to their desires, leaving you feeling trapped between their needs and your own well-being. For those who have entered the later years of life, this dynamic can be especially draining. After a lifetime spent giving generously to family, work, and community, you now deserve the right to say no without the accompanying guilt and to prioritize your own health, happiness, and peace. Yet the emotional manipulator has a way of making even the most justified boundaries feel like acts of betrayal. They create a narrative in which their own happiness appears to depend entirely on your compliance, making it extraordinarily difficult to stand firm in your decisions. The truth is that constantly yielding to guilt-driven requests does not foster genuine love or connection. Rather, it breeds an imbalance in which your own needs are continually overshadowed by theirs. Over time, this imbalance can lead to feelings of resentment, and the emotional burden may even manifest as anxiety, stress, or depression, especially when you come to the realization that, no matter how much you give, it never seems to be enough. The challenge with dealing with an emotional manipulator is that their tactics are based on an intimate understanding of who you are. They know precisely what you value, what you fear, and what you have always strived to be. If you take pride in being kind and dependable, they will lean into those qualities, pressuring you to prove your love through sacrifices that compromise your own comfort. This is why their guilt-laden appeals can feel so personal, as if they are attacking the very core of your identity. To break free from this cycle without irreparably damaging the relationship, you must first recognize that their guilt-inducing comments are not a measure of your worth, but rather reflections of their own internal struggles. Their need for control often arises from deep-seated fears. Fears of rejection, loss of influence, or the prospect of facing their own problems alone. While this understanding does not excuse their behavior, it does enable you to approach the situation with greater clarity and compassion. When faced with a manipulative remark designed to make you feel guilty, pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, but an essential practice in preserving your own well-being. Respond with kindness yet firmness, stating something along the lines of, "I understand that this is important to you, but I need to make choices that are right for me at this moment." You are not obligated to provide a lengthy explanation or justification. A simple, honest response is sufficient. It can also be helpful to practice articulating your boundaries in ways that reinforce your care for the other person. For instance, you might say, "I am unable to help in the way you are asking right now, but I care about you and want to see you succeed. Perhaps we can explore another solution together." This shift in the dynamic transforms the interaction from one of confrontation into one of collaboration, demonstrating that your boundaries do not diminish your love or care. Equally important is the process of releasing any lingering guilt that may follow after you have set your boundary. It is natural to second-guess yourself when a manipulator expresses disappointment or frustration, but it is crucial to remember that their emotions are their own responsibility. You cannot, and should not, carry the burden of someone else's happiness on your shoulders. To reinforce your resolve, surround yourself with individuals who respect your decisions and affirm your choices, and invest time in activities that nourish your spirit. Whether that means engaging in a community group, exploring a creative hobby, or simply taking quiet moments to reflect on all the ways in which you have given generously throughout your life. Ultimately, dealing with an emotional manipulator is not about completely shutting them out, but about reclaiming your own agency and recognizing that your worth is not defined by your ability to please others. By establishing clear boundaries, you protect your peace of mind and set an example for healthy relationships. Relationships built on mutual respect rather than on guilt. The love and care you have shown over the years speak volumes. You do not need to continuously prove your devotion through endless sacrifices. The greatest gift you can offer both yourself and those around you is the courage to live authentically, ensuring that your inner peace remains intact. 5. The subtle controller. At first glance, the subtle controller may appear to be a blessing in your life. This is the family member who always seems ready to lend a hand, whether it involves managing your appointments, making financial decisions, or organizing your household affairs. Their involvement initially feels supportive, perhaps even comforting, because it appears that they are looking out for your best interests. However, over time you might begin to notice a gradual shift in their behavior. Their help, once a source of relief, slowly begins to feel less like support and more like an encroachment on your independence. The transition can be so subtle that you may not even realize it is happening at first. Perhaps it starts with them insisting on handling minor tasks to ease your burden. Then gradually they begin to suggest taking over larger decisions with comments like, "You do not need to worry about this, I will take care of it," or, It is simply easier if I do it for you. Initially, you may feel relief at the thought of having someone shoulder some responsibilities. However, as their involvement increases, so does the sensation that you are relinquishing control over your own life. The subtle controller is especially difficult to recognize because their actions often stem from genuine care and concern. They truly believe they are helping you, and their intentions are not malicious. Yet their behavior can inadvertently erode your sense of autonomy. This erosion is particularly disheartening as you age, because maintaining your independence is essential to preserving your dignity and self-respect. The harm in this dynamic extends beyond the loss of control. It undermines your confidence in your ability to manage your own affairs. When someone persistently steps in to make decisions on your behalf, it sends an unspoken message that you are no longer capable of handling life's challenges independently, and over time, that message can take root, leading to self-doubt, frustration, and even resentment. However, the truth remains that your independence is one of the most valuable gifts you have cultivated over a lifetime. The ability to make choices, whether big or small, is a reflection of the experience, wisdom, and individuality that have carried you through decades of living. No one has the right to take that away from you, even if they believe they are acting in your best interests. You have spent years navigating challenges and celebrating triumphs, and you are fully capable of continuing to do so. The key to addressing the subtle controller lies in clear communication and self-assertion. The next time they offer to take over a task you know you can handle, politely decline by saying, "I appreciate your offer, but I would like to do this on my own." Such a response, although simple, reaffirms your autonomy while still acknowledging their kind intentions. If they persist or insist that their way is more efficient, gently remind them of your capability by saying, "I understand that you are trying to help, but it is important for me to remain involved in these decisions because I feel more confident and in control when I handle things myself." By framing your response in this manner, you shift the focus away from their actions and toward your own needs, making it difficult for them to argue without seeming dismissive. It is also vital to set clear boundaries, especially in those areas of your life where maintaining control is most crucial: your health, finances, and daily routines. For instance, if you notice that they have taken over scheduling your medical appointments or managing your bills, consider reasserting control by taking back those responsibilities or seeking the assistance of a neutral third party, such as a professional advisor or caregiver, who can help ensure that your needs are met without any unintended power struggles. Concurrently, invest effort in rebuilding your confidence in areas where you might feel uncertain. If modern technology intimidates you, consider taking a class or asking a trusted friend to show you how to navigate online banking or video calls. If physical challenges make certain tasks more difficult, explore tools or resources that can empower you to maintain control, such as mobility aids or home delivery services. Every small step you take to assert your independence reinforces your ability to live life on your own terms. It is important to note that addressing the subtle controller does not mean pushing them away entirely. Rather, it is about redefining the relationship so that it respects both your independence and their desire to help. By establishing clear boundaries and expressing your needs openly, you offer them the opportunity to support you in a manner that truly benefits you, while preserving the integrity of your relationship by ensuring that it is based on mutual respect rather than inadvertent control. Ultimately, your independence is not merely a practical matter. It is an essential aspect of your identity, the culmination of a lifetime of experiences, lessons, and personal growth. You have the right to make your own decisions, to take risks, and to live authentically, none of which can be taken away from you unless you allow it. Your later years are a time to celebrate the freedom and autonomy you have worked so hard to secure, not to surrender it. Embrace your independence with pride, and let those around you see that while their care is appreciated, your wisdom and strength are more than enough to guide you through this beautiful chapter of life. Protect your peace, celebrate your independence, and remember that life after 65 is a profound period, a time to cherish the freedom you have earned, to nurture the relationships that uplift you, and to savor the beauty of living on your own terms. These years are not solely about enjoying what lies ahead. they are also about making intentional choices to safeguard your peace, preserve your independence, and honor your overall well-being. The truth is that not every relationship is destined to grow with you into this stage of life. Some relatives, regardless of their intentions, can drain your emotional energy, undermine your confidence, or disrupt the harmony you deserve. Recognizing these dynamics and establishing clear boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It is a wise and necessary measure to ensure that the years ahead are filled with joy, fulfillment, and authenticity. Boundaries are not meant to close people off, but rather to create a space in which mutual respect can flourish. By choosing to say no to relationships or behaviors that hinder your happiness, you are simultaneously saying yes to what truly matters: your health, your dreams, and the connections that bring you genuine joy. As you move forward, let this be your mantra: my life is my own, and I will not allow anyone to make me feel guilty for prioritizing my well-being. I will not allow anyone to undermine the wisdom I have gained over a lifetime, and I will not allow anyone to take away the peace I have worked so hard to cultivate. Surround yourself with individuals who recognize your value, who respect your voice, and who celebrate the unique journey you have traveled. Find joy in the small moments: the laughter of a dear friend, the warmth of a sunrise, and the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are meant to be. This is your time, a time to live boldly, love deeply, and cherish every moment with the grace and wisdom that only a life well lived can bring. Protect your peace, honor your independence, and remember that the best chapters are often those in which you are the author of your own story. 8 harsh truths about old age you need to accept to live a happy life. Aging is an inevitable process, yet it is frequently misunderstood and misinterpreted by many. Although a large number of people view growing older as a series of losses and diminishing capabilities, one might consider that there exists an opportunity for renewal and self-discovery within this natural progression. What if the process of aging could offer clarity, a renewed sense of purpose, and a deeper connection to the very essence of life itself? The reality is that, although aging brings with it certain challenges and unavoidable changes, it simultaneously provides fertile ground for personal growth and fulfillment. By coming to terms with these realities and accepting them, you can unlock a life that transcends mere survival, in which every moment becomes a chance to rediscover joy, meaning, and the wisdom acquired over many years. In this exploration of 8 fundamental truths about aging, you are invited to reconsider your perspective on growing older, and to embrace the hidden potential that lies within each experience, however daunting it may appear at first glance. The ideas presented here are meant not only to offer solace, but also to encourage a proactive stance in celebrating every chapter of life. In doing so, you may begin to appreciate that what many perceive as loss is in fact an evolution toward a richer and more authentic existence. Let these reflections guide you as you learn to value the slow, steady cadence of time and the subtle beauty that emerges with every new wrinkle and every fading echo of your youth. Take these words to heart and allow them to serve as a gentle reminder that each day offers an opportunity to honor your past, live fully in the present, and look forward to the future with hope and determination. Whether you have already begun to accept these truths or are still hesitant to embrace them, know that every step on this journey matters, and that the transformation wrought by time is as much a part of life's tapestry as any other experience. In sharing these thoughts, we extend an invitation for you to engage, reflect, and perhaps even inspire others to view aging not as an end, but as a meaningful, ongoing process of self-realization. 1. Your body will change, and that is okay. As you navigate the long road of aging, one of the most undeniable realities is the transformation that takes place in your body. Over time, natural changes appear that can be both humbling and profound, serving as tangible reminders of the many experiences your body has supported throughout your life. You may find that your strength gradually wanes, that endurance is no longer as boundless, and that movements which once came effortlessly now require more thought and care. Fine lines and wrinkles begin to etch the narrative of your years onto your skin, while strands of gray emerge as quiet testaments to the wisdom gathered with time. Even though these physical transformations might at first be seen as symbols of limitation or decline, it is essential to understand that your body is not merely deteriorating, it is evolving. For decades, your body has been a steadfast companion, bearing the marks of every joy, every hardship, and every adventure along the way. Each ache, every scar, and every wrinkle stands as a proud testament to a life